Imagine this. Right now in your backyard, a single bird is watching you. Not just glancing, not casually passing through. It's perched on that familiar branch or fence post you see every morning, and in its small, dark eye, a decision is forming. This exact moment, the one most people completely miss, is the moment your yard stops being just another patch of grass and becomes home. You've probably felt it without realizing. That sudden burst of birds at your feeder after weeks of silence. The way a robin keeps returning to the same spot under your tree. The quiet chorus that starts earlier each spring. You think it's random, but it's not. Those birds have been studying you. They've been mapping your movements, remembering your face, and weighing whether your space is safe enough, rich enough, and predictable enough to raise their young. And in one heartbeat, one tiny, invisible shift, they decide. What you're about to hear is the hidden process behind that decision. The exact science of how birds choose your yard as their home. And by the end of this, you'll never look at the birds outside your window the same way again. Because they already know you. And today, you're finally going to know them back. Let me show you what happened in my own backyard last year. Last spring, I noticed something strange in my own backyard. For weeks, the place felt empty. Just the usual sparrows darting through. Then one Tuesday morning, everything changed. A pair of house finches started hanging around the old maple tree like they owned it. They weren't just feeding, they were inspecting. Hopping along the branches, tilting their heads, staring at the exact spot where I usually sit with my coffee. I thought it was cute, until I realized they had been watching me for days. That's the first revelation most people miss. Birds don't just show up, they decide. And that decision happens in a single, deliberate moment when they mark your yard as safe territory. Here's what's really happening. While you're inside scrolling on your phone or rushing to work, those birds are running a full background check on you and your property. They remember your daily schedule. They note when you fill the feeder, when the cat comes out, even how you move around the yard. One study from the University of Washington showed that crows and other songbirds can recognize individual human faces for years. They pass this knowledge to their offspring. Your birds already know if you're the friendly one or the unpredictable one. But the real surprise, it's not just memory. It's a calculated risk assessment. Researchers like John Marsluff at the University of Washington have documented how birds weigh food availability, predator pressure, and nesting sites with incredible precision. Their tiny brains, packed with specialized neurons, create mental maps of your yard that are more detailed than you can imagine. That flutter you see when a bird lands on your fence? That's not random. That's the exact moment it's updating its internal scorecard. Safe? Food nearby? Shelter from hawks? If the numbers add up, the decision clicks. Your yard becomes home. That is not a metaphor. Right now, inside that small feathered head, dopamine is flooding reward pathways, hormones are shifting, and a lifelong commitment is being formed. Your backyard birds are choosing you as much as you're choosing them. But that was only the beginning, because once they decide your yard is home, something even deeper starts happening between you and them. Once they decide your yard is home, the relationship changes forever. You start seeing the same individuals day after day. The cardinal that perches on your gutter every sunrise. The chickadee that follows you while you water plants. What feels like friendship is actually something far more calculated and beautiful. Here's the next revelation most people miss. Birds don't just tolerate your presence. They actively bond with specific humans who prove reliable. They remember your voice, your shape, even the color of the shirt you wear most often. And when they feel safe, they begin to communicate with you in ways that go beyond simple alarm calls. But before we go deeper, you need to know one key thing about how birds actually think. Their brains work nothing like we assumed even 20 years ago. Songbirds have a region called the Nidopallium caudalateral, basically their version of our prefrontal cortex that handles complex decision-making and planning. Cornell Lab of Ornithology Research shows these tiny creatures can remember hundreds of food cache locations for months. University of Washington studies reveal they track social hierarchies, predict predator movements, and even teach their young which humans to trust. They experience emotions too. Oxytocin-like hormones, called mesotocin, surge when they feel safe around a familiar person or place. Their hearts actually beat slower in a secure backyard. And here's something that still blows my mind. Many songbirds dream. During sleep, their brains replay the songs they heard that day, strengthening memories and perfecting their own calls. That gentle chirp you hear at dusk, it might be them processing everything they learned about your yard today. 3 quick markers you can watch for in your own birds. First, the head tilt. When a bird cocks its head and stares directly at you, it's not being cute. It's cross-referencing your face with its memory bank. Second, the soft, repetitive call. Not the loud territorial song, the quiet, almost conversational chatter. That's often a sign they've accepted you as part of their safe environment. Third, the gift. Yes, some birds bring small offerings, twigs, or bright objects when they're investing in your space. It's their version of saying, "We're staying." Try this easy test in your yard today. Sit quietly in the same spot for 10 minutes at the same time each morning for 3 days. Bring the same feeder or water dish. Watch what happens. You'll notice certain birds begin to approach closer, call more softly, and linger longer. That's the moment you'll see the decision solidify in real time. If you want to understand what your birds are really doing, thinking, and remembering, subscribe. No sponsorships. Just the secret life of the birds in your backyard. Because what we've covered so far is only the surface, the real payoff of their decision runs much deeper than you think. So what does it actually mean when a bird decides your yard is home? It means you're no longer just the human who lives there. You've become part of their world, their map, their story. That pair of finches in my backyard last year didn't just nest nearby. They built their home in the exact maple tree where I had been sitting quietly for weeks. Every morning they would land on the branch closest to my chair, look straight at me, and sing a slightly different version of their song. It felt personal, because it was. Here's the deeper mind-blowing truth most people never realize. When birds choose your yard, they're not only investing in safety and food, they're choosing a long-term social partner. Research by Professor John Marsluff and his team has shown that once songbirds accept a human as non-threatening, they form lasting associations that can span years. Some even adjust their breeding cycles based on the predictable rhythms of the people around them. Your daily schedule becomes part of their biological clock. Think about that for a second. The birds in your backyard are literally timing their most vulnerable moments, nesting, feeding chicks, teaching fledglings to fly, around when you come outside. They've decided you're predictable enough to trust with their family's future. And it goes even further. These birds now carry a mental file on you. They know your face, your voice, your habits. If you ever move away, studies suggest some will remember you for up to 5 years and react differently when they see someone who looks similar. Your presence has been encoded into their neural pathways the same way they encode important food sources or dangerous predators. That is not a metaphor. Inside their brain, a network of neurons has strengthened connections specifically tied to you and your space. Every time they return, those pathways light up with recognition and calm. This is why some backyards explode with life while others stay quiet. It's not luck. It's a quiet, intelligent choice made by creatures far more aware than we give them credit for. Your yard has been selected. And that decision carries a kind of quiet magic, because now the birds aren't just visitors. They're neighbors who have chosen to share their lives with you. But here's what changes everything. Once you understand this, you can actually influence their decision. You can become the kind of backyard they will fight to keep. So how do you become the backyard birds choose every single time? You don't need fancy equipment or expensive feeders. You need to think like they do. Here's exactly what you should do today, starting this afternoon. First, become predictable. Birds love rhythm. Choose one spot in your yard, the same chair or bench, and sit there quietly at the same time each day for 10 to 15 minutes. Bring the same calm energy. No sudden movements. They're watching. Within a few days, you'll see them relax and come closer. Second, speak to them. Yes, actually talk. Use a soft, consistent voice when you fill the feeder or water the plants. Say the same gentle phrase every time, like "Good morning, friends." Their brains register your voice as a safety signal. Many backyard observers report birds answering back with softer calls once they recognize the pattern. Third, offer the right resources at the right time. Fresh water is often more important than food. A simple shallow dish change daily can be the deciding factor. For food, go for high-quality native seeds, suet in winter, or mealworms during nesting season. But don't overfeed. Consistent moderate amounts beat occasional feasts. Fourth, create safe shelter. Leave a few dense shrubs or brush piles untouched. Add a nest box at the right height for the species you want. The key is giving them places where they can watch you while staying protected. Fifth, respect their signals. If a bird gives a sharp alarm call when you step outside, pause. Give them space. That small act of listening tells them you understand their language. Over time, those alarms turn into welcoming chatter. Try this simple 7-day challenge in your own yard. Day 1 through 3, sit quietly in the same spot each morning with water and a basic feeder. Day 4 through 7, add soft talking and one new shelter element, like a small brush pile or hanging nest material. Watch what happens. You'll notice new birds arriving. You'll see returning ones bring their mates. Some will start following you across the yard. These aren't random visitors anymore. These are birds that have run the numbers and decided your yard is worth claiming. You now hold the power to tip that decision in your favor. And when you do, the final layer of this relationship opens up, something truly emotional that makes every morning in your backyard feel alive. And when you finally cross that line, when your backyard birds have truly decided you are home, something shifts inside you too. You step outside one quiet morning and the air feels different. The cardinal doesn't fly away. It stays. It looks at you with that steady, knowing gaze and sings a softer, more intimate song. Not the loud, territorial one. This one is just for the two of you. In that moment, you realize you're no longer watching birds. You're living among friends who chose you back. That pair of finches I told you about at the beginning, they raised 3 chicks in my maple tree last summer. Every evening, the parents would bring the fledglings to the branch nearest my chair. They didn't hide them, they introduced them. And as those babies learned to fly, they would land clumsily near my feet, look up, and chirp the same gentle greeting their parents had learned from me. That is the real payoff. Your yard becomes a sanctuary not just for them, but for you. A place where wild creatures trust you enough to raise their families in plain sight. Where every dawn chorus feels like a personal welcome, where you walk outside and feel seen, known, connected to something ancient and alive. These small, brilliant minds have studied you, judged you worthy, and woven your daily life into theirs. They remember you, they rely on you, and in return, they give you something priceless, a backyard that pulses with wonder instead of emptiness. So tonight, before the sun sets, step outside, sit in that same spot, speak softly, watch closely, because right now, in your yard, a bird might be making that exact decision. And this time, you'll recognize the moment it happens. If you want to understand what your birds are really doing, thinking, and remembering, subscribe. No sponsorships, just the secret life of the birds in your backyard. Turn on notifications. The next time a new visitor shows up, I'll help you understand exactly what it's deciding about you. Until then, keep your eyes open. Your backyard is already watching. And now, you finally know how to watch it back.